Yo, what is going on, everyone? I appreciate y'all for tuning in to this live stream. I had to do a science project. I had to do a science project. That's why I wasn't live. I told some of the folks before in other videos that I'm doing some classes. So your boy was in here doing the science fair project as a grown ass man in his 40s. But in any event, we are here today. We're going to talk about some topics. We're going to talk about President Trump's executive order that impacts your TSP, your retirement saving, why this is important. We are also going to talk about and discuss some interesting topics related to children, parenting, and we're going to wrap things up with, I think, the largest amount of PPP fraud that I have ever heard of. So if you're new to the channel, hey, I'm Marcus. I'm an attorney. I do attorney reactions to current events, trending news, and topics. Sometimes we talk finances, sometimes we don't. We're going to dive in today. If you get some value out of this, or you don't like it, or you do like it, like, share, subscribe, dislike, interact, don't interact. I'm appreciative of everybody who supports in any capacity. All right, so the very first thing I think we need to talk about is we got to get to the money and we got to talk about the TSP. Hold on one moment. All right. Your boy back. It was hot, man. It's hot as hell outside today. It's hot as hell outside today. We're going to talk about President Trump's executive order that impacted TSP. We're going to read it, or I'm going to read an article so we can understand what it is. And then we're going to talk about, is it good, bad, neutral? And y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Are people going to take advantage of it to build wealth, or are they going to screw themselves over and lose a lot of money? Let's go ahead and jump into this article. I do it that way so we can check it out. All right, this is in August, early August. Trump signs an executive order that clears the path for alternative assets in 401ks. Your 401k, your TSP, is a retirement tool that you put money in. There's some tax advantages where it decreases your overall gross income for the calendar year. And you get some tax breaks if you wait to pull that money out. I believe it's age 59. Now, if you pull it out sooner, you're going to get taxed on it. You're going to get a 10% penalty. You're going to lose like 35, 40% of that money. But if you leave it in there, pull it out at 59, you'll be straight. Generally, with the 401k, there are a limited amount of buckets that you can invest in. You can invest in a fund that's similar to a treasury bond where you'll probably make 2 or 3% a year but never lose anything. You can invest in a fund that tracks the S&P 500 in the stock market, the 500 most profitable companies in the United States. But generally, there's a small amount of buckets that you can invest in because the whole point of the 401k, the TSP, is to have asset classes where people can make money, but they do so with a limited amount of risk. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday that will make it easier for 401ks and other employer-sponsored retirement plans to offer alternative assets, including private equity, real estate, and cryptocurrency. The order seeks to relieve the regulatory burdens and litigation risks that impede American workers' retirement accounts from achieving the competitive returns and asset diversification necessary to secure a dignified, comfortable retirement, according to Trump. It calls for the Labor Department and Securities and Exchange Commissions to provide employers with guidance about offering access to alternative investments in their retirement plans. There wasn't a law prohibiting plan sponsors from offering these types of investment to employers, but most have traditionally opted against doing so as they are considered riskier investments than traditional ones, like we talked about. Like publicly traded stocks and bonds, they're also more expensive, less transparent, and less liquid, making them harder to access. High net worth investors would benefit most from this as they are often able to take larger risks with their investments. However, many financial experts warn against employers making hasty changes to plans. So, long story short, let's go ahead and break down what this is. You have your TSP or your 401k. You can invest it in a certain amount of buckets that will potentially make you earn income. It could be something that'll get you 2 to 3% a year, but you won't lose anything, which is like a treasury bond fund. It could be the S&P 500, the 500 most profitable stocks in the United States. It could be, I don't know, the NASDAQ, which is tech heavy, but it's very limited. Normally, you got 5 to 10 things that you can invest in. What this executive order does is they want to make it so with your retirement account, you can invest in assets that can make you more money, but are more risky and can lose you money, like cryptocurrency, real estate, and so forth. Now, I'm a little bit confused as to how this would work out because let's just talk about this from a common sense standpoint. You put money in your 401k, you generally can't take it out until the age of 59. And if you do, it's a penalty if you don't pay it back, or it's a loan that you have to pay back, right? So I'm a little bit confused because cryptocurrency is like, okay, let's say if I'm 40, I invest $1,000 a year from 40 to 50 in cryptocurrency, and I want to get my money out. It makes no sense because I can't take my money out of that cryptocurrency according to this executive order and what they're talking about without getting that extra penalty. Cryptocurrency is not something you want to invest in for 30 years. I mean, you probably could, but normally cryptocurrency is up at peaks for a year, then another year is in the basement. Then it's up for peaks, then it's in the basement. That is actually risky as hell. It just makes no sense. I don't understand how a person will be able to do that. I invest in Bitcoin for 2 years. Now I want my money back at age 43, but if I take it out, I get a penalty. So you're kind of forcing me to leave my money in crypto until the age where I can avoid the penalty, which is 59. I think this is a terrible idea, not because the idea is bad. I just don't think people will use it correctly. I think people will probably take more risk than what they should, invest in 60, 70% of their retirement portfolio in some dumb stuff like cryptocurrency. And when they're ready to walk away, the crypto market just plummets, and now they just assed out having to work at Walmart or Target or something as a greeter. So I think it's a terrible idea. You all let me know what you think in the comments. I think it's great for people who are wealthy as hell and know what they're doing. Because if I could get, let's say I'm a super billionaire, right? Let's say I'm a billionaire. And a bunch of people take their retirement accounts and now they can invest in crypto. And they pull collectively all these retirement accounts. They pull, let's say, $2 trillion in the crypto market. Me as a billionaire who's just investing in crypto outside of a retirement account, I'm a capitalized because I bought this crypto. I didn't buy it in my retirement account, so I don't have to hold it to age 59. All these people who bought it in their retirement account are stuck holding it to the age of 59 unless they want to eat a penalty and taxes. So when those people, those employees flood the market and buy all of this crypto, me as an investor who can pull out whenever I want, I'm a benefit from that influx of cash from people using their TSPs and their 401ks to buy cryptocurrency. So I think it's an actual terrible idea. If it does come into fruition, I tell you, I won't be using my retirement account to put any crypto in there. I tell you right now, if you want to buy crypto, do it outside of your retirement account. I think this is going to be a way where people are going to get their draws ripped off if they really don't know what they're doing. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you for tuning in, Maddie. I appreciate you. Hey, what is going on? What's going on, Crystal Monique? Good evening and happy Sunday. Now, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting take, and I know a lot of people, most people, outside of their home, their TSP or their 401k is the highest asset that they have to calculate their retirement. So I thought that was interesting. Be careful if your job opens up to allow you to invest in crypto and all sorts of other things that some may consider fly by night. Do your research, limit your risk, because nobody want to be 90 years old having to struggle and shit because they made a bad decision when they were 40. Like it's just a bad look. All right, with that being said, now let's dive into the actual stories that are the stories we're going to talk about that involve some, I don't know if it's bad parenting or is it bad parenting? I don't know. We're going to see. Some may consider it bad parenting. Let's see. What should we start with? Do I want to do a recap of this story? All right, so I think we're gonna let's start with a recap of a story we talked about where we looked at it. It was a pastor who got deleted. He got into an argument at a bar over religion, which is crazy work. He got into an argument at a bar over religion, which is crazy work. Hey, shout out to you. Thank you, MTH. I appreciate you for the super chat. Hey, I'm very grateful, and a round of applause for you. So thank you. I don't want to make this sound too loud, but thank you. I appreciate the super chat. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this story right here. It's a recap of an older story. I don't know if you all gonna remember it, but we're gonna talk about it. Let's pause that. Let's get this off the screen. Let's get that off the screen. Let's add YouTube to the screen. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff I gotta do. All right. So, all right, let's lay the foundation for the background of this story. I don't know if you all remember this story, but this was in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a pastor who essentially got deleted. This woman right here ended up shooting him. Now, the story behind it was they were at a bar having an intense discussion over religion. Interestingly enough, video camera footage of the incident was actually available. Not all of the incident, but enough of the incident. So at the time, I don't know. I think it's an interesting argument. I think she has argument for self-defense. I was of the opinion that they knew each other because it actually sounds crazy to be sitting at a bar talking about religion and the shit lead to somebody getting shot. That actually sounds crazy and insane. But let's take a look. She ended up getting indicted. Let's check out the story.
Indicted. A new charge for the woman accused of shooting and killing prominent Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd earlier this year. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the News at 6. I'm Stephanie Skurlock. Samantha Marion now faces a second-degree murder charge following her indictment last week. WREG's April Thompson has reaction to the charge and what's next in the case.
Okay, so she's facing a second-degree murder charge. Essentially, I mean, they're saying that, hey, you killed the person, but it was no premeditation or deliberation. It just kind of happened at the moment.
Samantha Marion now facing a second-degree murder charge. This indictment showing a grand jury found Marion unlawfully and knowingly killed prominent Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd back in March outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen, where the two apparently got into an argument over religion.
I still don't believe that. I mean, like, that's crazy. Like, that actually sounds like a joke. A pastor walks into a bar. Like, that actually sounds like a joke. But I want y'all to look at the footage because I think she does have some arguments for self-defense. I'll actually link the video where we broke down the footage to this video once I wrap up here.
Earl Fisher was a friend of Pastor Floyd's.
So if this is a step in the direction of figuring out what exactly happened and what level of accountability and responsibility certain parties need to adhere to, then I would have to be here for that in the name of Ricky D. Floyd and all of those who love him.
WREG reached out to the Special District Attorney's Office in Nashville, now handling the case. They say Marion will next have another bond hearing on these new charges. Pastor Floyd was known for his community involvement and longtime work, especially in Frazier.
Fast forward real quick.
Recorded by They sat down with WREG to show us a video recorded by Samantha Marion the night of the shooting.
Now, I don't know if y'all remember this video, but this was actually a key part of the video that we actually broke down. I don't know what aspect of religion they were arguing about, but this behavior right here, this portion of the video, is something that's going to be very interesting. Apparently, the pastor kind of made his way through a couple of people to get to this young lady, according to reports. But this is the pastor in his vehicle getting ready to leave, and he hits his brakes and gets back out of the vehicle. This is going to be a key piece of evidence in her argument for self-defense.
It shows Pastor Floyd approaching her.
Again, that is the universal sign. I don't know if do white people do that, but before black people fight about to do some shit, we pull up our pants, even if they're already up. even if our pants are already up, we pull up our pants again just to make sure they're situated so we can move. But pulling up your pants is literally a universal sign of some shit might go down. So pastor is about to leave. He stops his car, comes back to this woman. Again, this isn't the full context, but this is probably one of the most important pieces to her self-defense argument.
Shows Pastor Floyd approaching her as she tells him to back off.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, please.
I mean, come on now. This is really going to be used in her favor. He had a chance to leave. He came back. He got out of the vehicle. He's approaching her. At this point, clearly no firearm is present, because if it was, he damn sure wouldn't be approaching her. Now, there are questions about when she engaged, where the juxtaposition of him and her was at the time of the shooting. But this is actually going to be a very key piece of evidence right here.
Oh, please. Back the up. Back up.
Samantha Marion's attorneys say the video shows aggression on the part of Pastor Ricky Floyd, and they say Samantha Marion didn't know what he was going to do.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through 2 individuals to get to her, and watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out.
I think that's a good argument, even though this is a small part. We have to get all of the facts of it, but this is going to be a paramount piece of evidence to the jury.
But he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
WREG reached out to the family of Pastor Floyd, but they declined to comment. Pastor Fisher hopes everyone moves away from the spin that Marion and Floyd knew each other. Her attorneys say they did not, and move toward the facts.
And giving us.
So that's where this story kind of leads off at. I don't know. I thought maybe they knew each other, because that's like some Saturday Night Live shit. A pastor walks into a bar and is having a discussion over religion, and it ultimately leads to him getting shot over beef about religion. Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. Like, it's interesting. I mean, it just seems weird that 2 strangers would have a conversation over religion that ends up in someone being shot. But that's going to be paramount to her defense. I'll actually link, again, the video where we broke down the entire footage of it. But it's going to be more evidence that comes in before the jury can make their determination. But she's definitely taking that to trial. I think she has to take that to trial. I mean, what is she going to plead to? She's charged with 2nd-degree murder. They can bump it down to a manslaughter. She's probably looking at 10 years. With that portion of that video, I think it's an argument that self-defense could be made. Again, we don't have all the facts, but that video is helpful to her argument. Y'all let me know what y'all think. To me, it says something that you're in your vehicle driving away, and then you stop your vehicle and get back out to approach someone. That's actually kind of wild. In any event, let's go ahead, jump into this next story. This is a story about PPP fraud. I'm completely for the government creating programs to help people, but I'm completely against the government creating programs to help people, and they just throw the shit out there with no way to police it, no way to have edits in place to identify fraud. Some of the PPP stories that we've seen are just ridiculous. And anybody should have been able to court these things before hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars were paid out. I seen one story where a police officer said he had a gym that he operated with all these employees, and the address of the gym was the damn police precinct, and he received taxpayer money. Shit like that shouldn't happen. So, programs to help people during times of hardships, I'm not opposed to. Programs to help people during times of hardship with nothing in place to police it or confirm the truthfulness of these applications, that's actually insane. Let's take a listen to this $34 million PPP fraud case. That has to be the highest amount that I've ever heard of.
Tonight, the FBI is asking for your help in finding a Palm Beach County woman they say was involved in a multi-million-dollar COVID fraud scheme. Take a look. This is Elaine Esco. She's now considered a fugitive. Esco is now accused of stealing $34 million in COVID-19 relief money. CBS 12's Antoinette Delbel joins us live from the federal courthouse in West Palm Beach and has more on what to do if you've seen her. Annie?
Well, Liz, federal agents say Esco has been on the run since June after she didn't show up to court here.
She gone. Y'all ain't gonna never see her again. She went back to wherever the hell she is from. I'm not trying to give nobody advice, but if you are or you have stolen money from the government and it's a large amount, like 30 some odd $million, you better get the hell out of Dodge, okay? Like that's not even advice. I'm just saying you would be foolish to hang around the place where your last known address was and where your work was. They are not going to find this woman in the United States. And if she is found in the United States, she's absolutely ridiculous.
Now, she was indicted just months after getting out of jail earlier this year on similar charges for wire fraud. 40-year-old Elaine Esco, seen here smiling with family and friends, is wanted by the FBI.
Remember, wire fraud carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison.
The fugitive, who also went by the alias Annie Palmer, is accused of pocketing COVID relief money totaling $34 million.
No way that should be allowed to happen. $34 million in COVID relief funds. And I'm sure this was with multiple applications for multiple businesses that didn't even fucking exist. This should not be allowed. This should not even have the possibility of happening. And this is actually, a failure on the government for failing to have a method to check this shit in place.
Federal agents say she and others were part of an elaborate scheme involving wire fraud and money laundering. The indictment claims Esco submitted more than 90 applications for.
See, I didn't even watch this story. I just saw the heading and I knew it was multiple businesses. Because one, I've been doing this a long time, and PPP isn't going to give you a big ass lump sum of $34 million or $30 million. It has to be a shitload of applications over a certain period of time. And I'm telling you, I've seen these happen. I've worked cases dealing with PPP fraud. People will submit different applications for the same businesses with the same numbers, and the shits will go through. It just absolutely makes no sense.
For PPP and other COVID relief programs by using false information about employee numbers, payrolls, and revenue over an 18-month span in 2020. And it says Esco was considered the ringleader.
This case involving multiple co-conspirators and 90 or so applications with 34 million, that is a much larger number and a much more complicated and complex kind of allegation than most PPP cases.
Defense lawyer.
It's not complicated. That's cap. I guarantee you, if I pulled up that indictment and went through it and read it, I guarantee you this is fraud that my 10-year-old little cousin would be able to identify. Same company, same date, same EIN number, separate applications, maybe change the address. I don't want to hear that, Mr. Defense Attorney. I've done this too long. This shit isn't complicated. The only reason people were able to get away with this because the system to disperse the money was ass. That's it. It don't take a rocket science. On a scale of complexity and simplicity, this is an elementary scheme to finesse PPP funds.
David Taras has handled many cases like this. He says the COVID-19 money was meant to help those hit hard by the pandemic, not to be misused for personal gain.
A lot of people were really hurt. People were dying during COVID, and those people maybe could have used that money to keep their businesses alive. That money wasn't available.
Now, Esco has tattoos on her left wrist, her stomach, her shoulder, her back. Federal agents believe she could be in Jamaica, where she's originally from.
Hey, she's from Jamaica. She got tattoos on her wrist, her back, her stomach. Okay, my type of woman.
If you've seen her or know where she might be, call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI.
They aren't finding her. They will not find her. No way, no how. She's gone in the wind. Her family in Jamaica is enjoying that money. So before we dive into the next story, I'm going to tell y'all a story about when I was growing up, how my father taught me to handle guns. Because this next story is interesting. And I want y'all to let me know in the comments if you think the outcome of what happened to the mother was appropriate. But I was shooting guns at a very young age. My father was a gun guy. We were shooting rifles and squirrels and stuff, probably like at 5. No older than 7. I'm thinking maybe 5 though. And so he would set, I ain't gonna move that, but he would set his gun on the table here. And then he would set my toy guns on the table here. And he came up to me and was like, look, Marcus, these are my guns and these are your guns. Your guns are right here. My guns are right here. Whatever you do, do not touch my guns. I had to be 5 to 7. Your guns, my guns. Don't touch my guns. Remember, these are yours over here. These are mine. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Then like a few minutes went by. He was like, hey, can you go over there and hand me that gun? And when I went over there and touched that gun of his, he whooped my ass. he whooped my ass. And after he whooped my ass, I'm sitting there crying. He was like, again, my guns, your guns. Don't touch my guns. And then he waited a while. He was like, hey, could you go turn that gun around? I was like, nah, bro, I'm not touching your gun. So I was scared as hell of guns. There was situations where I was older and friends would actually like sneak their parents' guns out of the house and be like, let's go in the woods and shoot them. And like, I was so traumatized. I was like, man, I ain't touching that gun. I thought my father was going to jump out of the damn bush and whip my ass. So I say that to say you can teach a child to have awareness with firearms, what not to do with them, what to do with them, what to touch and what not to touch. That is possible. You can teach them that. Does that mean you should not use precautions and making sure the shits aren't just lying around for anybody to grab? No, you still need to have common sense. You should lock them up, have them in a safe, put a trigger lock on it, do something. Your 2-year-old shouldn't be able to pick up your Glock 13 and just play with it like it's a toy. So at 5 to 7, I was able to delineate real guns from fake guns, and I knew if I touched real guns, my father was going to pop out of nowhere and whoop my ass, right? Now, a 2-year-old, you probably can't explain that to. Some 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, depending on their mental capacity, where they are, their level of maturity, you may not be able to explain. But check out this next story, and let's see what happened to this mother in Indianapolis with her children. It's an actual terrible story, but the question involved is, how much fault should we apportion to the mother here?
We start tonight at 5 o'clock with these emotional moments from the courtroom earlier today. It all occurred as an Indianapolis mother lost custody of her daughter, at least temporarily. The decision follows the death of her toddler, who accidentally shot and killed himself using the mom's gun.
Yes. I don't know what y'all think. I don't know if y'all feel bad for her losing her daughter. She should lose her daughter at least temporarily. It might be safe to say yes, and temporary is probably going to be a long time as far as I'm concerned. But this woman's toddler is no longer here because the toddler was playing with mom's firearm and accidentally killed himself. And the court did what I think is appropriate, remove the 3-year-old daughter out of the home. Do y'all have any issue with that on this face? If y'all have an issue with that, I don't know what's going on, but I think that's completely the right decision. I haven't even watched this story, and I got right here, and we can really stop the video. We can stop the video. Next topic, please. But let me know what y'all think. I have no issue with what I've heard so far. What about you all?
Rich Nye had his camera in the courtroom when the judge issued the no contact order, adding to this mother's grief.
Listen to me.
Kiera Bickett.
Listen to me.
A no contact order.
It's temporary. The child is listed as a witness.
Judge Angela Davis told Bickett, for now.
I actually think the judge is being too nice. The child is being listed as a witness. The child being in that home is in a potential for risk of harm because we just saw what happened to her toddler. A child who was probably 2-year-old passed away. I think it's appropriate and it makes sense to take the 3-year-old out of the home. Also, I do agree too that when they mean by why she's talking about the child as a witness, generally, at 3-year-old, child can be influenced to say they maybe saw something or maybe didn't see anything. I think this child has gone through a lot of trauma to have this happen to your sibling. We don't know what did the child see. The child was a witness, but that's something where this child is going to need to be in therapy and everything. And I think this is the right move, taking that child out of the home. I really don't give a damn about how much the mother cries at this point. The safety of the child comes first and foremost.
Was listed as a witness.
Judge Angela Davis told Bickett, for now, she can have no unsupervised visits with her 9-year-old daughter.
Agreed.
Court records say the girl was in the front seat of a car with Bickett and 2-year-old Javarius Bickett when the boy found a gun in his mother's unzipped purse.
Oh my God! This is where the 9-year-old should not be there. This is I didn't hear the facts of this story. This is the first time I'm hearing this story, and it's absolutely terrible. Let's rewind that back. I'm gonna let it play through.
Court records say the girl was in the front seat of a car with Bickett and 2-year-old Javarius Bickett when the boy found a gun in his mother's unzipped purse and shot and killed himself. The shooting happened June 19th while they were driving through a CVS parking lot on the north side of Indy. Bickett is charged with neglect of a dependent resulting in death. The prosecution says Bickett's daughter will be called as a witness in the case. The girl's grandmother will care for the child during the no contact order, but it's a complicated situation.
I know you've had the child since June, right? And is it your mother, the grandmother?
Yes.
And is it somewhere where you're living?
Yes.
You live at that house?
Yes, and I also take care of my stepfather. He lives there too.
Don't give a damn. I don't care. You should not be around a child. That child is. This story is terrible. This 2-year-old shot himself in the car while the mother and the 9-year-old were in the car because she had a gun in her purse. I actually have female friends who are getting firearms or got firearms, and literally 100% of them say, I'm going to have it in my purse. I'm going to have it in my purse. That's the absolute worst place you can have a firearm for that reason. If you have a firearm, it needs to be on your person, on your hip. You need to have a holster. This is my holster for my favorite summertime firearm. You need to have a holster. It needs to be on your hip. It needs to be on your person. If it's in your purse, you set your purse down. If it was on her hip, anywhere else, this wouldn't have happened because the kid can't get the gun off her hip. If someone snatches your purse, now they got your purse, your ID, and your firearm. Your firearm should be on your person at all times if you're going to have one.
And is it your mother, the grandmother?
Yes.
And is it somewhere where you're living?
Yes.
You live at that house?
Yes, and I also take care of my stepfather. He lives there too.
The judge will allow Bickett to keep working at the house caring for her stepfather, but she cannot be alone with her daughter.
If the child has questions, then you have somebody else talk with the child, but you can't say things like, don't say anything or mom's going to go to jail. Do you understand? You may never take the child to school, pick up the child by yourself, have any time where there's not another adult.
Melissa Etheridge is the grandmother. She has a tattoo of Javarius on her arm. The family believes the level 1 felony charge against Kiera is too harsh.
No, the charge is not harsh. The charge is not harsh at all. Like, I get it. That little boy look exactly like her too. Like, literally, that little boy stole her face. Rest in peace to him. But I don't think the charge is too harsh. I think the family is saying that because, one, it's the family. Two, they want the mother to actually be able to be there for the daughter. I get all of that, but I agree that she should not have any access to her daughter alone temporarily. I agree with that.
On her arm. The family believes the level 1 felony charge against Kiera is too harsh for an accident.
Bickett told the judge she still plans to hire her own attorney and is meeting with one soon. Bickett is due back in court September 22nd, when the judge will revisit the terms of the no contact order. At the Marion County Community Justice Campus, Rich Nye, 13 News.
That's actually a terrible story, but I agree 100% with what the judge did in that situation. One, the court has to protect the integrity of the witness because kids can be influenced. But two, there's also just a risk there. I mean, it's less likely that a 9-year-old is going to reach in a purse, grab a gun, and accidentally shoot themselves. But that story is terrible. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Is that the right call? Should she have custody of her 9-year-old daughter in light of what happened to her toddler? I say everything is 100% right. I think that, I don't know, parents, we have a responsibility to make sure that we do what's in the best interest of our child. Now, we're always not going to get it right, but having a firearm that's loaded, I don't know, was the safety on or off. I don't know if the round was chambered, but whatever it was too easy for this kid to get access to that firearm. So I think that's 100% right. And I'm gonna be honest, like, she's gonna hire an attorney. But if that were me, if I were the defendant, let's take out the attorney hat off. Let's say I'm her in this case. Like, her attorney. If I'm her, I'm having my attorney work out some type of a deal. That's all you can do. What would you want to do as a mother? Would you want to, like, what are you going to do? Fight it? No, we know what happened. It's not rocket science what happened. The kid is no longer here. It was your gun in your purse. It's obvious. So there's nothing to really go to trial about. It's just seeing if her attorney can cut a deal. Also, would you really want to go to trial and have your 9-year-old daughter have to get on the stand in front of a bunch of fucking strangers and relive the trauma that she just had and seeing her little brother no longer be here? No, you're not going to want to do that as a parent. So, I mean, real talk is probably, like, I don't see why she would even hire a pay attorney at this point, because she's probably going to end up taking a plea agreement. It's not going to go to trial because I just don't know what the defense is. There's no defense. Some things are indefensible. And even if and you wouldn't want to put your child through the trauma of having to testify against. Do you want your child testifying against you as to how her sibling accidentally shot himself? Hell no. You're not going to want to do that. So I think this is going to resolve itself in a plea agreement. I would be shocked if it resolved itself any other way. Now, this last story, we're going to talk a little bit about parenting, but this is kind of a rewind as well, when we're going to talk about ding dong ditch. Now, you know, back when I was a kid, there were ding dong ditch. You in the neighborhood, you just knock on somebody's door like a normal human being and run and hide behind cars, or you ring the doorbell and run. You normally did it like during daytime hours. People generally knew, like, you're doing it to people in your neighborhood. So it was kind of a known thing. But then we did a story about this extreme ding dong ditch where people are mule kicking doors and kicking doors in. And I mean, like, jumping with two legs, drop kicking the door at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We did a story where an event like that happened. It led to a young man being shot. And now it's an entire trial. And now we have another story of an 11-year-old who was playing ding dong ditch, who ended up getting shot and is no longer here. I skimmed through it. I haven't watched this entire video. This is generally, I probably watched maybe the first 30 seconds or so. I think this is a different situation. I think this is a situation where they were actually playing like ding ding and then just running. I don't think they were mule kicking, but let's check out this story. We're going to talk about the legal consequences of what went on, and we're going to talk a little bit about parenting because there's a parenting issue as well here.
And with an 11-year-old boy who has died after being shot while ding-dong ditching a neighbor's home in Houston's East Side. The shooting happened near the intersection of Mimboro and Fidelity Streets just before 11 last night.
I would go on to say, all right, they said the shooting happened just before 11. Let's listen to that real quick.
It's just before 11 last night.
The shooting happened just before 11, and it was an 11-year-old. I don't know, I don't know what new parents are doing. And I grew up in the city, but generally you don't see a lot of 11-year-olds outside at 11 o'clock at night. That's just kind of not what it is. Not 11-year-olds. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's kind of not the norm. That's the first thing that jumped out to me is crazy. Like, why the hell is this 11-year-old out at 11 o'clock at night? That's actually kind of wild. Again, it doesn't happen. And I know, in some cities, Baltimore, DC, New Orleans, I've seen it. I've represented 11, 12, 13-year-olds who are in the game, deep in the game. But that's not the norm. So my first question is, I don't even understand why the fuck an 11-year-old is out at 11 o'clock at night to be able to do this. But I don't think this is a extreme ding-dong ditch situation. I think it's a homeowner who just went too far. And generally, I'll say Texas, Florida, a lot of those southern states, you're going to see shit like this happen more than you would in states that are a little bit more liberal because, the gun rights down there, people take their property seriously, even if they're in the wrong.
The victim found about a block away. Police have since questioned a person in connection with that shooting, but no arrests have been made. KPRC2's Jaewon Jung has been out at the scene all day. She joins us now live with the latest. Jaewon.
Bill, good evening to you. Nearly 24 hours since the shooting took place, investigators are still on scene collecting evidence. This was a tragic situation of a doorbell prank gone wrong. Police telling us this was an isolated incident, but they now have a warning to parents.
Now, again, I'm assuming this homeowner just went too far because they didn't say extreme doorbell where they were kicking the door. They said a doorbell prank gone wrong. Somebody ring your doorbell at 11 o'clock. You probably shouldn't come out guns blazing if it's just a ring at the doorbell. Generally, you shouldn't come out guns blazing as a matter of course, but definitely just not what we're hearing so far.
It's just so heartbreaking and sad.
George Skinner lives just 2 houses down the street, where Houston police say a middle-aged man opened fire on a group of kids ding-dong ditching late Saturday night.
Jail. That's all I had. Open fire on a group of kids. Using that terminology suggests to me, just them using that phrase, is that, he opened fire on a group of kids. I don't hear anything that would show he was in some type of risk of serious bodily harm or death. So, again, I'm going to follow up before we get off here, but I'm pretty sure he should be in jail right now.
An 11-year-old boy was shot in the back and died.
Shot in the back. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people say, oh, you shoot somebody in the back, you're going to jail. That's not necessarily the case. The facts and circumstances of what happened and led to the shot is actually more important than the location of the shot. There could be legit situations where I'm in fear of severe bodily harm or death, and I have to pop somebody and I pop them in the back. It could be possible, but on this, it sounded like the homeowner is probably going to be in custody and needs to be in custody.
An 11-year-old boy was shot in the back and died Sunday afternoon.
There's no way you can mistake that kid for somebody grown, and that's what hurts so bad.
This isn't the first time.
Okay, now that shit right there, that's extreme. That's what we're seeing right here is what I was talking about. This is the extreme ding dong ditch stuff, mule kicking people doors. Here is the daytime. They did 1 or 2 kicks, it looks like, from what we can see in this portion of the video, and then they hauled ass. This isn't as bad as some of the ones I've seen. I've seen ones where they're doing this at 3 in the night, where there's multiple people, 2, 3, 4 people doing it consecutively back to back. People have a fear that someone is trying to break into their home. It's 2, 3 midnight. That doesn't sound like what we're hearing, but this is a scenario of an extreme case.
This isn't the first time a ding-dong ditch prank has turned violent. Last month, a similar case happened in Fort Worth and in Frisco, where police there say 3 teenage boys nearly lost their lives.
They may seem like harmless pranks, but they can be very dangerous indeed.
I spoke with Sergeant Betsy Smith. She's a retired law enforcement officer who is now the spokesperson for the National Police Association.
We have had recent trends like this ding dong ditch, which has been happening for 50, 60 years. There's also been various TikTok challenges.
TikTok challenges like the door kick challenge caught by a Katy homeowner last month. While it's unclear if social media had anything to do with this case, Houston police has a message to parents. We've heard about pranks like this before.
Yes. I want to start out by saying Houston's a safe community, and it's sad that we're here today.
Is Houston safe? A lot of robberies, a lot of armed robberies, and people get shot in Houston. I don't know what their numbers are, but that shit on the news all the time as I hear police sirens in the background in D.C. Is Houston safe? I don't know.
Dealing with it now. But to answer your question, as a parent, keep a close eye on your kids.
A sad ending to a prank indeed. Police don't believe this was a case of self-defense, and a witness reported that a handgun was used in this shooting. Now, a few hours.
Clearly doesn't sound like self-defense. Just from hearing the report, this guy sounds like he probably should be in custody. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why they didn't arrest him immediately.
We start tonight at 5 o'clock with these emotional moments from the.
But let's see real quick, because that was 5 days ago, and I'm sure there is an update. I'm sure there's an update to this case, and I would bet money that update involves this gentleman. Let's see. Him being in cut. Let's see if we can find. Days ago, 4 days ago. Yep, that's about right. Completely not self-defense, completely out of control. Let's go ahead and play this real quick, then we can get out of here.
This morning, a judge set a $1 million bond for the man accused of shooting and killing an 11-year-old playing a doorbell prank. Gonzalo Leon Jr. appeared before a district court judge for the first time. You can see him there in the orange jumpsuit. He was quiet and answered all of the judge's questions. KPRC2's Rochelle Turner attended the hearing and is joining us live at the Harris County Criminal Justice Center. Rochelle, what are the key takeaways from this first court appearance?
Andy, good afternoon to you. We have a lot of information to get through. Now,
clearly, if he's arrested with a $1 million bond, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I don't know what his previous criminal justice history is. I don't know if he has a history of missing court dates. 1 million sounds a little bit low for something like that. But let's get some more of the facts as to why he ended up getting incarcerated. But in the previous video, I saw cops appear to be searching for shell casings, and they look far as shit from the house. The fact that they were searching for shell casings so damn far from the house leads me to believe that this guy was going to be in trouble just from what we heard with that limited information.
According to prosecutors, Leon was arrested by SWAT at a La Quinta Inn motel in LaPorte, which is about 20 miles from his home. And prosecutors pointed out that he had a large bag of clothes with him. They
yeah, he's about to get the hell out of Dodge.
Also pointed to a 2019 arrest out of Guadalupe County for terroristic threat of a family member. Now, that case was dismissed, but on the other hand, you have Leon's defense attorney who said that he only left his home because he was trying to protect his family and that there was a large presence of media in the neighborhood. He also told us that Leon is a disabled Army veteran and he has no prior history of any criminal past. Take a listen to what he said when we asked him about it.
Yeah, hey, you got to lean in. Hey, if you a vet, if I was his defense attorney, I'd be saying the same thing. I'd be like, Your Honor, this gentleman is a veteran who honorably served his country, blah, blah, blah. That's all the spiel. You got to give the best facts you can to help your client, no matter how limited they are.
It's unfortunate that 2 out of the 3 bigger claims that were made, we believe are factually inaccurate. One was the claim about the Guadalupe case, which was a case of mistaken identity. Literally,
I don't care about the previous case. The previous case was dismissed. So the fact that it was dismissed to me is irrelevant. I don't care what you were charged with. If it was dismissed, I mean, it wasn't you. It was no evidence. Shouldn't even be an issue, really.
We have different sisters, different complaining witnesses. There's absolutely no link, even after informing the district attorney's office of that. They continue to represent those facts, even stating maybe they're not true. At the same time, the last one about whether or not he's a United States citizen, it's interesting because he served our country, and then he decided to exercise his Second Amendment rights to...
No, he's not a United States citizen. He just answered the own question. Whether he's a United States citizen, and his response was, it's interesting because he served that country and he was exercising his Second Amendment right. The answer to that question is no. He's not here legally.
Owning firearms, which he protected our country for, one of those rights, and they decided to use that as an aggravating factor.
Now, Leon entered the courtroom in a jumpsuit and shackles. Prosecutors read probable cause, saying Julian Guzman and his 10-year-old cousin were walking home from a family party when they decided to play ding dong.
That's why they were out at 11. Okay, that's fair. They walking from family member A house to family member C house in the same community. Not necessarily terrible.
Ditch at Leon's home. Investigators say Leon came outside dressed in dark clothing and armed with a gun. The 10-year-old cousin told police he heard at least 2 gunshots. One struck Julian in the back. The boy collapsed and begged for help and later died at the hospital. Police later searched Leon's home and found around 20 firearms, including rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Prosecutors argued the severity of the crime alone warranted a high bond.
Firearms and the use of firearms is not the answer. Whether you're on the freeway getting cut off or you're in your own neighborhood.
Damn, that motherfucker had a lot of goddamn guns in the house. 20 guns is crazy. But I don't know, maybe that's some Houston, Texas stuff where people want to have that many guns. But yeah, that guy is screwed. I think the biggest takeaway with that story is, especially like places like Houston, Florida, we see it all the time. Yo, leave people shit alone. Parents should advise. Kids should be able to be kids and ring someone's doorbell and run and not get shot in the damn back. But this is 2025. Times is fucking different. Like, it's one thing if I'm on a cruise and my daughter and her friends are playing ding dong ditch, knocking on people's doors on the damn boat, because one thing for sure, 2 things for certain, they don't have no damn guns on that ship. There's very few guns on a damn cruise ship, so it's less concerning. But just like in the neighborhood, like, nah, I would always never tell my kid, like, yo, don't play ding dong ditch in the neighborhood. And if you are playing it, y'all need to be playing that shit in the daytime. Doing it at night is crazy. People are gonna assert all sorts of crazy reasons or justifications for coming out using the firearm, even though those justifications ass. Oh, it was nighttime. I was scared. I thought somebody was trying to break in. Nobody believed that shit, but that's what they're going to say. So you all let me know what y'all think. I think, again, him being locked up, 100% right. The $1 million bond, it sounds kind of low, but to me, I practice in, I guess, well, no, Houston is a really big city, though, so maybe, I don't know. But I've normally practiced in, like, D.C. I had some cases in New York, and typically crimes like that warrant a much higher bond, not because of any conduct of the defendant, which it should be based on the defendant's ability to actually show up to court in that, but just because judges are like, no, bro, you shot a child, I'm not going to be the person responsible for giving you a low-ass bond. So I think the bond is low, $1 million bond, $100,000. If he had a house, he could put that up and be out relatively immediately. I think his argument as to why they found him at a hotel 20 miles away from home is a valid argument. I don't think, without any other evidence, I think that's fair. Was he fleeing? Was he attempting to flee? Initially, that's what I thought, but his argument was a valid one. Hey, there's a lot of news media around my family. I didn't want my family to be harassed because I'm there, so I wanted to remove myself from that situation. That was why I was 20 miles away. That was why I had this luggage. So it's going to be interesting. Typically, what happens like this, if you are a non-citizen, ICE is alerted immediately. Even if it's something simple as a DUI, ICE is going to be alerted immediately. He's probably going to have an ICE detainer. So that's probably how this is going to play out. Y'all let me know what y'all think on a few things. One, going back to the story about the 401k, do you think it's smart to allow people with 401ks to be able to invest their retirement money into riskier assets that could have a higher return on investment like cryptocurrency, real estate? I don't think it's a bad idea. I think people are just going to use that incorrectly and it's going to end up hurting them. The other thing I want to know is, what do you think about the mother who toddler shot himself in the car with his 9-year-old sibling? Was it right for the court to remove the 9-year-old sibling from the home in light of the charges for negligence that the mother is being charged with? I think it 100% makes sense because, one, the 9-year-old is a witness and can be influenced by the mother, but more importantly, there is some risk of harm. So in a temporary standpoint, I think the child should be removed from the home. The child is going to be with a grandparent. Makes complete sense to me. Yo, as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the video. Tomorrow is going to be football Sunday, so I'm going to be sitting around, loafing around, watching football, and having a good time, and hopefully my team wins. Shout out to y'all. I'm appreciative. I'm grateful. Y'all have a great night. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.